Welcome, influencers. Great to have you on another jam session. With me today, Peter, who has been inside the Influence Fast Start for the last 90 days. Peter, great to have you with us. Thanks for joining me today.
Thanks.
Hey, why don't you just give us a quick rundown? Who do you work with? What is it that you do?
My name's Peter Howarth, and I work with utility companies, and I'm making their structural assets safer, longer lasting, and more resilient.
Good stuff. And so, why did you start with TIP? What was the challenge? What was the thing you were trying to overcome?
Yeah, so I started with TIP because I was in a new business, and I needed what they call pivot, the normal way. So I knew that doing what I normally do wouldn't work. So how would I go about starting this business? How am I going to generate leads, opportunities, and get buy-in from decision makers and influencers? I knew what I would do pre-COVID, but without the face-to-face contact, what was the solution?
Yeah, that's a big piece for you, isn't it? That face-to-face, being able to engage with people. It's been a huge part of how you've done things.
Yeah, and you know, that grey hair, I suppose that's where it comes from. It's part of what you know, it's what I'm used to. It's what I understand. And you know, when you've been doing something for 30 to 40 years one way, and then all of a sudden you've got to, I think pivot is the term they use. You've got to do things differently. Well, you know, I was searching for something different, and you know, through yourself and obviously the initial side, it was worth investing.
Oh, great. Well, I mentioned earlier that you've been with us inside our 90-day program.
Yep.
What have been the results so far in terms of, you know, how many leads, what sort of opportunity is on the table right now, and what sort of sales have you made?
Yeah, okay. So I've got about 500 connections so far, just a little over that. But you know, I only have a market of 3 companies, so you know, I'm pretty happy with that. From that, there's about 30 leads and a pipeline of conservatively just over 27 million. But it's probably, I suppose, just as importantly is the clarity of what I sell to who and why they need what I've got, and the way I sell it, and the process and the system here, being in the program, gave me that clarity. And I think lots of longer term reinforcing of my previous knowledge that I'd sort of forgotten or wasn't using. So things like, you know, less is more, or process, and questions in the brainstorm and the launch all help reinforce or trigger those things that, you know, were part of my sales bag of tricks, you know, a while ago, but you'd forgotten about them. So that was really good. And I also think, you know, this is a big rap for you guys, and particularly you, Vaughan, is that, you know, I stepped into the abyss, right? And I knew that you guys had a rope around me, and that made it really comfortable for me to take that step off the abyss, right? Sometimes it was a bungee cord, I think, but you know, the point was that, you know, it was a safety net, you know what I mean? I think that was really good, and that's what I've, you know, as well as all the good things, they're the sort of smaller things really that made the process worthwhile.
Yeah, great. And you've made I think there was a sale in there as well. What did that?
Yeah, there was a couple. Yeah, about 15,000 on the way to a couple more. So
great.
Yeah, we're well in they're fairly long sales cycles, so that's okay. And dealing with government departments can sometimes be a little frustrating and take a bit longer than you want, but certainly things are moving on and moving through the process, and things, you know, where some guy wanted to give me $2,500 worth of work. After the launch call, you know, it changed to over 350,000. So yeah, that opportunity. So yeah, it works.
Great. Well, knowing what you know now, what advice would you give to people that are watching this?
It sounds very simple, but it's about process. Follow the process, right? You think you know different? Forget it. Follow the process. You think sometimes it doesn't apply to me? Forget it. Follow the process every time. It's your bottom line. Follow the process. It doesn't matter what you think, doesn't matter what you do. It's a bit like that old cricket thing when the captain wins the toss. He says, you know, will I bat or bowl? I said, well, you can always think about bowling, but you bat first every time. It's the same thing. Process.
Oh, great. Fantastic. And then in one word, if you could summarize your experience, the Influencer Project, our process in one word, what would it be?
Success.
Great. Great. Awesome. Well, Peter, thank you so much. It's been great having you on the call. For those that are watching, I hope this has been helpful for you, and we look forward to seeing you guys inside the program soon as well.